underneath the moonlight. Take a ride out in Malibu. I just wanna do gay stuff with you. Tell the truth.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Some guy, man, you played something the other day. I don't know if you recorded it.
No, just go.
But some guy asked me one day, he's like, "Hey man, you done got good, man. I heard the kid's video." I was like, "That wasn't me." I'm like, "You got an instrumental somewhere." I was like, "Yeah, appreciate it, dick." But yeah, I was like, I thought it was kind of funny. And then some guy messaged me. He was like, "Hey man, can you do that whole song name that was in the car video?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll get that out sometime."
Yeah, I'll be sure to get that. All right. So we're gonna do a little bit of behind the scenes here. So listen, this is Ben. Now he likes to go by Jella, as of lately, but this is my buddy Ben. So all these songs that you guys have been hearing, he plays them all. So we're just gonna sit here tonight, and he's gonna play a little bit, and we may include some of this in the videos. Yeah. So get ready.
Hey.
We don't know what the hell he's gonna sing. I don't even think he knows what he's gonna
We
sing.
got Andrew here too, and I'm gonna let you guys know, man. Like Andrew, he's very inspirational to me in my creative process. So,
It gives you a lot of content, right?
he does. He gives me a lot of thought, Jack standing there, let's get you going. Where your parks parks on the grass ain't growing now. Is it the money or is it the time? Man, we need to go fix your ride. There is something man, we can do. Get together, get our shit together, fix up you. Jack standing there, your car is dusty, your tires are dry rotted, son, your brake pad showing. Need to get up your ass, get this car going, get it fast now. Come on, let's go. Bullshit.
Andrew.
There you go.
That was written just for you.
Probably.
Just so you know.
And that, I'm really messed up.
In my defense, my car will never sit on jack stands, though. It just
Yeah, it just sits. Yeah.
So it can't be about me.
All right. So where did the inspiration for Mustangs and Our Memories come from?
Oh man, cause like I don't know, it sounds cliche to say, but like even with me and my older brother and his friends, and my brother's 13 years older than me, so obviously he was driving and out in the car scene and all way before I was. So when these cars, Foxbodies, were brand new when he came out. The blue car I have, he bought it brand new off the lot, and they had like the Monte Carlos and the third gen Camaros and 5-speed Mustangs. I mean, all the Foxbodies. I ain't gonna name them all off, but his friends had all those cars new, and they would always meet up at my house. I had the cool parents, and so the cars would pile up. And to me, growing up, like those were the Chevelles and the first gen Camaros and the fastbacks of my childhood. I didn't care about those classic cars now, those classic Chevys and stuff back then. Man, I wanted the Mustangs. And so as soon as my buddies and I got old enough to buy them, and they started kind of depreciating when we could buy them for $4,000 or $5,000, like Brutal was buying them, and I got my first one from him, and Andrew got his first one from him, and like we just started buying these cars. But honestly, I'm 41 years old, and if I'm looking back to the time I was you know, 12, 13 years old, man, like, I can't think of things without thinking of them.
That's right.
Like because you remember, like, you took a trip somewhere, you went to the beach, or you went somewhere, and you always remember what you went in, and it was one of those cars, you know. And
well, and your brother's car was one of the faster cars around too.
yeah, he was
So there was Greg Grimes, there was your brother, Scott Cannon, a couple of those other guys that were out really running the roads, and well, Papa T was out racing too. He was part of that, but the younger crowd was your brother. So this is something that we do quite often. I don't usually share this. We don't usually, you know, I don't include this portion, but we sit around and we talk a lot about these cars because they were a big influence on us. And the Foxbody was, like Ben saying, pretty much the newfangled car. Like, that was the new thing. Remember, everybody was scared of EFI back then.
Yeah.
You pop the hood on an old Foxbody back in the day, and people were just like, I don't know anything about this. And now it seems so simple compared to some of these other cars. Ben was around back then. His brother was out, you know, around back then. I'll show some pictures of the car that Ben actually has now. So he's officially the second owner of this car, and it was bought brand spanking new. And his brother ran the streets back then, him and Greg Grimes, you know, rest in peace. But a lot of those guys, man, were out terrorizing the roads, and there wasn't a whole lot to outrun one of those cars. Something that I talk about a lot, and I think you can help me out here. Back when Fox bodies were new, let's say like your brother's car had like a few modifications. There wasn't really anything stock to outrun one of them. The only thing you had to worry about was maybe a Grand National or something along those lines. But even still, if you had a Fox body with some gears, underdrive pulleys, exhaust, short belt, like all those little modifications that we did early on, there wasn't really anything out there.
Nah, I mean, you know, speaking of my brother, he had a Monte Carlo, I think it was an 87 or 88 Monte Carlo SS.
Mm-hmm.
It had a little transmission work done to it. When it went into second, it left 2 black marks about a car length long, and that was like real cool back then.
Mm-hmm.
Still is today, if you got an auto that'll do that. And but like you were saying, the guy that he named off, another guy he didn't name off was a guy named Matt Holman.
Yeah, Matt Holman.
And man, Matt would like wear his butt out, like, I mean, it's trashy, man, in that Monte Carlo. When Matt would park that GT at my mom and dad's house, I was a little boy, and I'd be out riding my bike, and people would ride by and like the Malibus and Camaros and stuff and all that, because they would like know the car and ride by, like, because there wasn't cell phones back then.
Yeah.
They would ride by to see like when he was gonna leave, because they were trying to catch him leaving in it to pull him over to ask him to run or something.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, but they would be off like, you know, chasing women or whatever. But that car would be sitting there in our driveway, and I remember like watching a lot of the old guys, man. Ride by another name. I don't know if you're going to add this. You can't go to. But remember Ralph Casual?
Oh yeah, I remember Ralph.
Ralph was a racer.
Yeah.
Man, I remember one night Ricky Cleveland rode by the house, man, like about 5 or 6 times, and Ralph came out there and said, "Hey, Rick," he said, "Ricky, if it's on your mind that bad, just leave him a fucking note on the windshield."
Here's something I want to see how you feel about, because we never talked about this. But back when the Foxbody came out and they were popular, what other car was popular at the time? The Monte Carlo, right? The Monte Carlo SS. But how did that car compare as far as look and feel? Did it feel dated to you compared to a Foxbody?
Foxbodies back then, guys, were like kind of cutting edge.
Mm-hmm.
They would spin, but they would pull
Mm-hmm.
while they were spinning. They didn't have a lot of horsepower, but Foxbodies were torquey. And if you could dump the clutch on one, you gotta remember, Monte Carlos were automatics.
Yep.
And Monte Carlo with a 305 don't have enough power to run one down.
Mm-mm.
It just don't. Once they get out there, it's not gonna go get it. And it's the same 305 that was in the Gen 3 Camaros that weren't gonna go get it. Now Camaros came with a 5-speed because my brother had one of those too.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't keep it but about a year because he was getting his butt wore out by all his buddies that had the 5.0s. So he went and bought one, which is the car we have now, and then he was in the game, and he was in the top of the game. You know, he was tit and tat with those guys on any night. So, but yeah, they were a lot tougher than what people think. Now today, by the measures,
yeah, it's not.
you got cars making quadruple the horsepower 25, 30 years later, of course. But nah, back then, man, they were pretty. Like I said, there's a lot of things about them that were kind of cutting edge. You know,
That's right.
Lumbar seats. You know, you had your little lumbar on the side. That, on the GTs, that was stuff that you didn't have. Power mirrors. a lot of this is like stuff that's laughable now, but back then it was features, tilt steering, you know. I mean,
well, tweed interior because like the Monte Carlo still had the plush interior.
Right.
It still felt like a grandma car. Now, granted, I love the Monte Carlos.
You never driven a Monte Carlo, by the way, guys. It's like driving a boat.
Yeah, it is.
They're big. And if you're a little guy like me, like I'm a small dude, like, man, you down in that thing, like, you know, you down in that thing like that, you know.
Pretty much. And
the dash sits up way high on those Gen 3s, too. Like, if you're in a Gen 3, if you've never driven one of those, compared to a Fox, the Gen 3, man, is like a go-kart.
Yeah.
You feel like you're sitting in a bucket, like, on the ground, and the dash just feels like it's about, like, way high on me. That's how it always felt to me, man.
Yeah, it's the same way for me. And the Gen 3s, I still like them. I really do. I like an IROC. I love the IROC that Ricky Cleveland had back in the day. Love that thing. But
man.
you couldn't put dual exhaust on them, Harley. You had to cut the car up to do it. They were hard to work on.
That stuff.
Yeah. They're really hard to work on. You know, when I had a Trans Am GTA, I bought Jeff's. So Jeff Cleveland's white Trans Am that he had, remember?
Yeah,
so I bought
tune
that
port.
Car. Yeah, tune port.
Tune port car, yeah.
305 5-speed, and it was back then it was outrunning a lot of Foxbodies. Jeff was out. Well, I got it, and it didn't outrun shit with me driving. We came a long way in our driving skills and things like that. But back in the day, those were the guys, right? We learned a lot from them. But anyway, the whole point here is a lot of the inspiration for what Ben writes about and what he sings about comes from those times. Guys, Ben was out there back in the day running with grudge racers. I mean, these guys, which we all were, but Ben really he was really living that life. So they would bring cars out on trailers, like race cars, and unload these things, and they would race. I mean, Brad with the one-eyed dog and just everything else. I mean, there were cars all the time out there on the street drag racing. And a lot of the inspiration comes from stuff like that. So you got to understand, we've lived this life pretty much our whole lives.
Yeah, man, you know, I've seen a lot, done a lot, kind of winding it down now. I'm kind of like, had a race car myself, you know, the last couple of years, really big into that.
Very fast car, by the way.
Appreciate you.
Which, hold on, just so you know, hold on. So we still have to cover this. This is something that I've been wanting to cover on the channel and we've talked about. So I won't go into any detail right now, but Ben has a really, really fast, nice car. If you guys look at the intro, that's the white car there. We'll go into that at some point because here's the thing. Right now, I just kind of want you guys to know that it wasn't just me. It wasn't just Andrew. It wasn't just my dad. Ben, everybody that we run with, our crew pretty much grew up like this. As many of you probably did as well. But this is not something that we just picked up, 10 years ago when we started liking cars. We were born into it pretty much, and that's just the way that it is. But we go way back. We got a lot of history from bikes and cars and anything else.
Everything, man.
Everything. We had RT Dakotas with nitrous on them and with 200 miles, I think, when we put nitrous. Just crazy stuff. So poor old Andrew over here never stood a chance.
Yeah,
he was. And then we got Joe Nate. You throw him in the mix, and Andrew was just screwed right from the beginning. But
that's a good thing. I hate money.
Yeah. Andrew hates money, and you gotta hate money if you're into cars. But I will tell you guys this. Speaking about that, we'll just make this a whole video, I guess. Us just hanging out. One thing that I will say, if you guys want to get into Foxbodies right now, I will tell you this: you better own a toolbox and you better have a bank account. Because I'm telling you right now that you can't go buy one anymore and just daily drive it and it work out for you. You're going to have to turn wrenches on it. You're going to have to know the ins and outs of these cars. And you guys know as well, there's very few places that you can take a Foxbody and them know, right? Know what a base idle reset is. Know how to actually work on these cars because there's a lot that you need to know. That's the thing. It's getting harder to find somebody to work on these cars. I have a lot of people contact me and say, hey, man, can you work on my car? We don't have time. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not a Foxbody guru. As much as you guys may think I am, I'm not. We poke and hope, and eventually we make something work. That's all I can tell you. But I do not work on other people's cars. There's very few people out there that do. But something that I have been thinking about lately is combining, like maybe starting like a Facebook group and then have like basically each state that has people, like knowledgeable people that can work on Foxbodies and know these cars and share that information. That way you guys can join the group and share all that information with each other. So I don't know how that will work out, but it's something I've been thinking about. But that's the issue right now. You guys, you try to message me for me to work on your car, but I can't do it. So that shows me that there's a lot of people out there that need cars worked on and you don't have anybody to go to.
Roger Roger and his son Zeb have just
Yep.
went into the mechanical side as well on Wisnot Mustangs.
That's right.
Enterprise, Alabama. So, and they're also great people.
Yep. So Roger and Zeb, like he said, Wisnot Mustangs. We've shown them guys a lot,
They've
and
expanded. And
they have, yeah.
And went to a mechanical
right.
shop as well.
so
Not just restoration.
Andrew knows them firsthand as well.
Yeah.
Really good people.
Yes.
Bought parts from them before.
Yep.
Oh,
We've
yeah.
all.
I've sold parts to them, bought parts from them. Me and Brutal actually busted a quarter. I did it. I busted a quarter glass out of the blue car one day, and it was about to rain. I had to go to work on a Sunday, and called Roger, and I was like, "Hey man, I'm in a bind." I was like, "I need a quarter glass." He's like, "Only one I got, man, is for a right hand side." I was like, "Well, that's the side I need." He's like, "Yeah, man, but I don't want to sell it." And I was like, "Roger, you're gonna have to sell it today." He's like, "Huh?" I'm like, "I got a pocket full of cash and I'm headed to Enterprise as we speak. I'm gonna see you in a little bit." He's like, I like kind of didn't give him the chance to tell me no, and I got off the phone, and when I showed up and begged him, but as car guys do, when I took the hood off of my race car and I took the 2 red seats out of it, I gave them to him.
Andrew, he gave away red interior.
You know, I almost bought those seats. They had them for that long.
For my seats?
Yeah, they had those seats that long. Whenever I went up there and bought a door panel from them, I asked them if they have any red seats, and he's like, "No, we just sold a set."
I gave that stuff to him because he sold me that window that day, or that I guess you call it window. Yeah, he sold me that window that day, and he didn't want to, so I actually gave him some money for it. But man, I kind of felt like he was sour though, because he brought it up the next 3 times I talked to him, and I was like, "Well, I'm just to take it out, you know."
Yeah.
And so I was like, "I tell you what, man, I throw you a bone." And ever since I gave him that hood and them seats, though, he didn't say he never brought it up again.
Oh,
when I
yeah,
talked to
yeah,
him.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
I guess
never
I
again.
sweetened it enough for him. So I guess that put enough sugar in his coffee or whatever you want to call it. So I guess he was cool. But man, it goes that way sometimes.
That's
you
right.
know, me and Scott swap stuff out all the time and everything. So
Yeah, we have a really good community in the Mustang, really Foxbody community. You get into the S550 stuff. No offense to any of you guys that have an S550, but it's a different group of people. When you get into the old Foxbody stuff, I mean, these are now the old school kind of hot rods, and a lot of good people out there. But with all that being said, I think Jello's gonna play us a little bit of music here. So let's see what he's got.
actually, man, I didn't really have anything.
Anything? I don't give a shit.
My mind's kind of blank now. You got me thinking about cars and stuff, man.
So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna just set the phone down.
Shined up for a hot date, tuned up for a back roads race, spinning tires and raising hell in this nowhere town. Hanging out with my friends, spending all of our rents, anything to be wild and free on the weekend. Mustangs in my memories, couple thousand, so it seems. Mustangs in our memories, and won't you go with me?
That's my favorite.
But the retro fox is taken, but a look like hers can be found from time to time. I said the retro fox is taken, Andrew, but a look like hers can be found from time to time. I'm thinking something like the retro is what I need to find. Andrew, there's only one man in the world who gets Parker in his drive.
We drop it.
There's only one man in this world who gets to park her in his drive. But if I had some road and cruise tonight. I'm the guy in Andrew's phone, loading up inside his joint home, all alone, pushing 40 in the friend zone. You laugh and then you walk away every day. Ooh, I wouldn't think twice about you. Show you and look everything without you.
Go to bed. Come on, please.
You give me just one night, and you'll see me in a new light. You give me just one night to take you underneath the moonlight, take a ride out in Malibu. I just wanna do that stuff with you, tell the truth.
Come on, man.
And you wrong for that, man.
Hey man, edit all that shit out. It's Pride Week too, motherfucker. White lips, pale face, green snowflakes, burning on the sour taste. Lights gone, days in, struggling to pay rent, the long night is straight. They say she's in class of 18. You gotta have, when you do like a name like Andrew and you do it in French pronunciation, man, you gotta come up on the fretboard, man. You gotta get into some damn Andrew. My name is Andrew.
Sounds like some Mexican love song or
I
something.
want to do something to you.
I'm about to leave.
Benny, your belly button looks like a butthole. Butthole. It's in there for you too.
Yes, there we
Even
go.
looking at the
good.
chords, I was
See?
fucking bad.
But
And so-
dude, I love it.
Get out! No, I'm just playing. That was Ashley.
Who's that?
Sorry guys, I didn't mean to scare shit out of y'all.
Ah! We got kiddos coming in. Alright, so that's it for tonight, guys. We got the kids coming in. It's been an awesome night. Just hanging out, talking Mustangs. I gotta get up and go to work in the morning. Everybody wave.